Recently, I did a video looking at the average salaries across the UK. Now, while a lot of people liked it, I did receive a few comments like this. It's all relative, depends on where you live. Align the salaries with house prices. And my personal favourite, this data does not account for where they live, so kind of meaningless. Brutal, but maybe fair. So today, we're fixing that. We'll dive into the latest Affordability Index scores from the ONS, comparing the average salaries by region to the average house prices in those regions. And that will reveal where in England and Wales your money really goes furthest. And once we've done that, we'll compare each region to each other so that you can compare exactly how much more rich living in one region might make you compared to another. And if you want some ammo the next time your parents or grandparents ask you why you haven't bought a house yet, then I'm going to be running through those Affordability Index scores over the last 30 years to show just how hard buying a house is right now. Grab a drink. If you're in London, maybe buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. And let's get into the juicy data. The latest ONS data on affordability shows that the average house price in England and Wales is £282,500, with the average in England being slightly under £290,000 and the average in Wales being £201,000. But to start working out how far your money goes in each region, let's start by plotting all of those regions across an axis in a graph. Starting with the lowest average house prices in the northeast, all the way up to the most expensive in London. And the average house price in the northeast is £160,000. We have the East and West Midlands on £240,000, the East of England on £335,000, and finally London on £525,000 as the average house price. And for comparison, we'll include the average house prices in both England and Wales. Now, as you can see, there's a £350,000 swing between the least affordable house prices and most affordable house prices in different regions of the UK. And this is bound to have an impact on how far your money will go in these regions and then how rich you'll feel. So now let's plot the average salaries for the same regions on the same graph. Now a quick note, these average earnings are based on full-time earnings only. So they don't include any part-time earnings or take into account any other assets that people might have, such as investments. But again, we'll start with the Northeast with an average salary of £32,960. Southeast England with just over £39,000, and finally London with £47,455 as the average salary in that region. So perhaps you can already see that while the average salaries do vary quite a bit across the regions, the discrepancy between the regions on salary is not quite as strong as the discrepancy between house prices. But to get a more obvious way of visualising this affordability, let's divide the average house prices in each region by the average salary in those regions to create our affordability index. But before I do that, if you're enjoying this video and getting some value from it, please do like this video, subscribe to the channel. It makes a massive difference to me and should only take a few seconds of your time. So if we create this affordability index, the results become a lot more clear. And drumroll please, the three most affordable regions in the UK are the North East, Yorkshire and the Humber, and the northwest of England, with affordability scores of between 4 and 6. In the middle, we have the West and East Midlands and the southwest of England, with affordability scores of around the 7 and 8 mark. And no prizes for guessing the least affordable region in the UK, and if you're living here, you're probably already feeling the pain that this number will demonstrate, but the least affordable region in England and Wales is London, with an affordability score of over 11. That means that the average house price in London is 11 times the average salary in the region. And in fact, the south of England features quite prominently at this end of the affordability scale, with scores of around 8.5 to 9.6 for the south and southeast of England. And for completeness, let's include the affordability scores of England and of Wales, which sits at the more affordable end of the scale. On a bit of a side note, London sitting on an affordability index score of 11 is absolutely crazy when you take into account that the average amount that a mortgage broker will offer you when you're looking to buy a house is 4.5 times your annual salary. What this means in practice is that anyone earning the average salary in London is a far cry away from being able to afford an average house in London. And in fact, even looking at the North East, the Affordability Index score is higher than that 4.5 times level that a mortgage broker will offer you. So is it any wonder that it feels impossible to get on the property ladder right now? But what this also means is someone in the North East is going to be able to afford a lot more house than someone living in London. Now I'm going to touch on how these affordability index numbers have changed over time shortly, but first let's use London as a benchmark to see just how much more affordable all of these other regions are. Essentially, if you're earning the average salary in one region, how much better off might you be than someone earning the average salary in London? Well, as before, let's start by plotting all of the regions on an axis for this graph. And we'll start to populate these by dividing their affordability index score by the index score of London. So London will start on a baseline score of 1. And each of these other regions will start to populate with how much more affordable they are than London. Okay, so how do we actually read this data? Well, essentially what this data shows is that if you earn the average salary in the Southeast, for example, your affordability index score is 15% higher than someone earning the average salary in London. Now for the East Midlands, it's 57% higher. For the North West and Wales, it's 89% higher. And for the North East, it's a massive 128% higher. So ignoring all other variables, if you earned the average salary in the North East, you would be 128% better off than someone earning the average salary in London, despite the fact that those average salaries are vastly different. Mind blown. So now we've made everyone in London reevaluate their life choices, and while I try and pick up my bits of brain from the floor, let's have a quick look at the ONS Affordability Index over the last 30 years to get a gauge of how that's changed over time. Now, with all the noise around how difficult it is to buy a home for the first time right now, it's probably not a massive surprise to see how sharp this increase is. But to think that just 30 years ago, the Affordability Index score for England and Wales sat at 3.55, and now it's increased to over 7.5, is pretty mind-boggling. In fact, 7.5 is not even the highest it's been over the last 5 years. So when you're next hounded by your parents or grandparents asking why you haven't got on the property ladder yet, point to this graph and let them know that it's over 2 times harder now to get on the property ladder than it was only 30 years ago. So yeah, while house prices have shot up over the past 30 years, it's pretty obvious that the average salary hasn't kept pace. And that's one big part why your money feels like it's not going as far these days. Although looking at the data that we've seen, this impact will be felt a lot more in some regions, looking at you, London, than it will in others. But if you want to dive even deeper into some average salary data and see what the top earners are earning and breakdowns by age, industry and region, then do check out this video where I do exactly that. Please note that the average salaries you see in this video will be slightly different to the averages we've spoken about today, and that's just down to the fact that they use 2 different ONS sources of data. We've used full-time earnings today, and this video uses PAYE data. But honestly, the comparisons in that video are really fascinating. They'll give you a good idea of how you're benchmarking against your peers, and potentially some opportunities to grow your salary as well. And if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Please do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you at the next one.